everybody. Welcome back to Just a Podcast. I'm here with one of my professors, Professor Lairson, today. He's one of the greatest professors I've had during my time here at school, and he's taught me a lot of great things, and I'm sure
I paid
he's
him for that.
impacted many students here, and a lot of the lessons he taught me, I've still carried on in all my classes today, and we'll just jump right into it.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate the nice accolades. I'll pay you later.
I thought we'd talk about the James Franco story that you shared a couple of times in some of my classes.
Oh, that. Okay. Well, first of all, I will say for those of you who don't know what I do, I guess I should tell them, huh?
Yeah.
So, first off, I teach here at Grand Canyon University. I teach acting for the camera and history of television and film, and sometimes I teach screenwriting, depending on the semester. But my main focus job outside of teaching is I've been in casting director in Los Angeles, in Hollywood for, I don't know, 25-ish years maybe. So I've worked on a lot of television shows in the past, movies, a lot of television pilots, which are shows that didn't get picked up to air, but they were still produced. And I've auditioned as a casting director. You auditioned actors you sit with directors and audition them. So I've auditioned, I can't even tell you, thousands of actors over the years at various levels, from celebrities to just up and coming actors who we wanted to see for a role. So my James Franco story is years ago. I can't even tell you what year it was, but I was on my way. I worked at 20th Century Fox Studios, and I was on my way to work, and I was traveling down La Brea, and this is in Los Angeles. La Brea and Santa Monica kind of crosses over there, and there's a McDonald's there. So I stopped to get some coffee, and I was going through the drive-through, and I come to the drive-through to get my coffee, and the drive-through attendant was this guy, and he was just has a presence about them. A lot of actors, especially they say celebrity actors, there's a presence that they have. There's just the it factor. So this guy who was at the drive-through window, he just had a personality, and he had such energy, and I knew he was an actor because in Los Angeles, if you're in the industry, you can smell the actors more or less. And so he has my coffee, and I'm like, well, you've got some personality on you. And he said, thank you. And I said, I assume you're an actor, right? He goes, yes, of course. I said, well, do you have an agent? You got a great look, and you got some great energy. And he says, no, I don't. And I said, oh, okay, well, I know a lot of agents. I should just hook you up with one. Well, he reached down from the drive-through where he was and pulled out his headshot, handed me his headshot from his drive-through. So a little note to actors: always be prepared. You never know who you're going to meet with your headshot and resume. So and that drive-through window attendant was James Franco. So he gave me the headshot, and I sent it to a friend of mine who's an agent, and he contacted the agency, and they represented him. He has since gone to bigger agents, but this was kind of like his very first agent, and is kind of so that was I don't know if I discovered him. I wouldn't say that, but because I never auditioned him, I just knew he had a presence. So it would be up to him to go to the agent that I talked with, my friend who was an agent, and it would be up to them to represent him. But, I opened the door for him, I would say. So there you go. That's my James Franco story.
Has you been with them since and many
No,
projects?
no. A lot of times, when you audition actors, you may see them again in different projects that you're working on, television shows, movies. They may come in and audition, or you may see them at a function. But no, I actually haven't talked with them since. It's not like we became personal friends, or I had dinner at his house or anything. He's just an actor at the time, and I didn't know where he was going to go with his career. My job was, I had an instinct about him, and you give him an opportunity. So,
when it came to certain scripts or projects you were involved in that have signs from writers that were involved, were you approached by those projects, or were you involved from the very beginning?
well, I worked when it comes to television shows, like I worked on a television show for about 10 years called NYPD Blue. And so I was already an employee, so to speak, in the casting department of Stephen Bochco Productions. He was the creator, producer of NYPD Blue, another show called Brooklyn South. I mean, if you look up Stephen Bochco, you'll see tons of, he was a well-known producer. And so that's how, we get the scripts. And I was already there as a part of the production company, an employee of the production company, more or less. So is that what you meant?
Yes.
Okay. But independent things outside of that, like sometimes when the television show is over with in the spring, it's not over with, but we go on hiatus until the next season if the show stays on the air. Then maybe during the summer, I might be asked to cast a film or an independent film or be a part of a production team that works on another project. So then, I'm either asked or sometimes I interview just like anybody else for a regular position. So
when it comes to assignments, you're one of the few professors that goes out of their way to include more than the material in all the assignments for all the lessons. Is that?
I am.
I believe so.
Yeah. Really? I didn't realize that. I thought I was just doing my job, Michael. Well, can you give me an example? I'm not sure what you mean. Because I assign, whatever's on the loud cloud for the student of the class. What is it? I'm not sure what you mean. I'm sorry.
I think you just provide more personal details about what you've experienced and seen and things like that, and you have your own specific exercises that you've created for the class. Sometimes with screenwriting, you would have certain exercises and things like that, and I know a lot of students to where that really helped them when it came to finding out their story, world building, and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, I try to give exercises or tell stories or give different projects or exercises in class or something like that that will, I think, help them go the extra mile than just the regular bookwork assignment, which the bookwork assignments are good, don't get me wrong, but sometimes when you've had experiences actually in the industry, which most of the students have not, and I have, so I maybe will bring in a situation where they could experience the same thing on some level that I've experienced, so that when they get out there in the real world, in the industry world, they're not blindsided. They've kind of like, oh, we did that in class, or I experienced a little bit of that in class. So you kind of get the feeling of what it is to be, um, you know, what it feels like to be on the job, so to speak. If I can, if at all possible, I'm able to do that in class. I'll try and give exercises, or especially in acting, audition exercises, or audition the way actors come in and audition, how it really happens, um, and or what they need to do to prepare outside of class, what other actors, professional actors, do outside of class to make them better. Yeah, I try, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember in acting for the camera class, I didn't know that much about acting,
Mm-hmm.
and your perspective has really helped me open my viewpoint to it as a director and what the actor is going through mentally to prepare for the role, or
Right.
how to get them to where you need them to be for each scene and things like that. Notes, keeping it brief and things like that.
Right. Good. Yeah, I try because it's a very difficult business, and it's very hard to break into the industry, or even sometimes have experiences in the industry of the major that you're in, that the students are in, film, TV, and most of the students in my acting class, most of them don't even want to be actors. They want to be producers or editors or writers, or it's funny. I have very few students in my acting class that ever want to be actors, but what I try to do is give them the same experience what the actor goes through, so that when they do become a director, it makes them a better director, because they know what their actor is feeling. They're not just going to be a director that tells the actor what to do. In a sense, they've experienced what that actor is going to go through, the process, and it will help them be a better director, actually. Yeah.
When it comes to the scripts you've written, do you look at other films for inspiration, or are you able to pull things from whatever comes to your mind as you're writing the script?
Well, a one script that it was a television pilot that myself and a couple of screenwriter friends of mine wrote years back, that we pitched to HBO and Fox and all these big networks that we had the opportunity to pitch our project to. That script was a story, a television, almost got picked up. It almost became a TV show. If it would have been a TV show, that would have been really exciting. But that particular process, the writing process, was an idea that I came up with an idea. How that came about was, it was a script. The title of it was called, the TV show was called Thoughtful, and it was a story of a woman who was a therapist, and when her patients came in to have therapy, one-on-one therapy, she could read their minds. She could tell what they were really thinking, because of an accident that she had had as a little girl, an experience, not an accident, but an experience that she had as a little girl. It's kind of funny. Abducted by aliens, and then when they brought her back, she had the ability to hear people's thoughts. So, and then when she grew up, she had the ability of, when she was in therapy sessions, had the ability to really hear what their clients were thinking. Like, she would know if they were lying or really not telling their feelings, but she had to deal with that ability not to tell her gift, but had to deal with it to really know how to deal with the things and what they were going through without exposing who she was and her gift. But how I came up with that whole process was, I was at dinner one night in Los Angeles, and with some friends, and we were listening to some music, and we're eating and we're talking, and I was just looking around at different, observing. As a screenwriter, or even as an actor, I'm not an actor, but I always tell actors, or as a screenwriter, be an observer. Observe things, watch how people act, watch how people walk, watch how people eat. As an actor, if you can overhear conversations without being caught, of course, you might get some really good screenwriting ideas. You might hear a name and keep a journal, or you might hear a conversation like, wow, that would make a really cool story. So at this particular dinner, we were at a restaurant in LA, and I was just looking around and watching people talk to each other and converse and drink and eat and all that. And I'm like, I wonder what they're really thinking. I wonder in this conversation, uh, what's going on through their head. So I came up with that idea, and then told some other screenwriter friends, and we expanded on that. Where the therapist idea came in therapy. At the time, my wife is a marriage family therapist. She is a therapist. So she would tell me different story scenarios of her clients. She wouldn't tell, it's against the law and ethics for her to tell me names and things like that. But she would tell me certain things that the problems some of her clients might be going through. I'd never met them, don't know them, anything to this day. But this, and so we would create stories from ideas from some of her clients that had come in with different issues, and we would create stories from that. So a lot of times, screenwriters, at least our process, you can develop a whole story, a whole movie, a whole TV show, whatever, just from things happening around in your life, or that you hear about, or that you experience, and you take those and you create stories from them. So, did I answer your question? I think
Yes.
it's kind of long-winded. Sorry
Yeah,
about
it's
that.
okay.
Pitch meetings are very stressful, at least the ones I've been through, because the pitch meetings I've experienced with networks and studios, you're in a conference room in a big, huge building, and people in suits and nice clothes and dressed up, and so you dress up. It's professional, so it's not like casual, really. I suppose it can be, just depending on what happens, but the pitch meetings I've experienced, they've always been very professional, business-like, in conference rooms, and you're sitting across, you know, different divisions of the studio, and pitching them your idea, and uh, it's involved in that. It's not just saying, "Hey, I've got this great idea for a TV show. I think you guys would love it." They wouldn't see you. So you have to be prepared and create your whole case, your whole project. You got to bring them a script. You got to bring them casting ideas. You have to bring them future episode ideas. What's going to happen in 5 years with this TV show? What's going to happen? Where is the story going? Where is the main character going to go? In 20 episodes. So you got to think long term, and you bring in different ideas with that, and you've got to really have your ducks in a row and learn how to present, and present it in such a way that it's a sales pitch, really, for lack of a better term, in business sense. And you got to sell them on the idea that you would love this television show, and it should be developed and made, or a movie. But to get that initial opportunity, frankly, we had connections. I was at a position in casting to where I knew a lot of people. The other screenwriters that I was with were working in the industry and they knew people. So you're tapping into that networking. Networking is extremely important. Um, and you ask for that opportunity just to, present, and hopefully they'll let you. I don't know. I'm kind of long-winded, aren't I, Michael?
It's
What is
okay.
up with that?
Is there a shift in storytelling that you think you've noticed? Perhaps movies not really having weight on the audience anymore, or having substance anymore, that you've noticed that you think has been lacking over the years?
Um, I think, well, I like stories with meaty dialogue and um, and substance. So it just depends on what type of screenwriter you are, too. I think if you're a screenwriter that does the Marvel comics and the big huge blow 'em up, uh, you know, those kinds of things, then that's one way of writing. Uh, I'm more like I like dialogue driven, meaty story, substance that when you walk away from watching the movie or the TV show, it kind of sticks with you. You remember it. Some of those movies where it's a lot of blow ups and machine guns and helicopters and just all the action is fun in the moment, but do you remember the story? Or do you remember, how they blew up half of the United States? I don't know, whatever, or how they blew up, 50 tanks and 12 buildings and how it all, but do you remember the main focus, the story? What was the story? Bunch of blowups. So I think, how has it changed? Well, I don't. Maybe it's changed, but really the bottom line is what's going to sell. Where, what kind of audience is going to come watch it? You got to have an audience to watch it, or it doesn't. If nobody sees it, what's the purpose? So you have to find out uh, what's going to sell. What are what are people interested in out there? Your audience. Find your target audience and write for them. Could be horror, could be musical, could be anything. You have to be the writer that, what's your desire, what's your passion, what's your focus in writing, and who's your audience, and are they going to come see you?
There's a lot of films I've seen over the years where I could see where they were trying to go with the story, but they didn't quite get there, either because the stakes were just too high or too low. They didn't know if it was gonna continue or if people will want a sequel. I remember seeing Battlefield back in 2012, and I really liked where they were going. I just think that the stakes were a bit high for the film, and the focus on the characters was there, but not to where you could really remember all of them. There weren't a lot of notable, memorable characters. Are there certain films where you wish that things were different or the stakes were adjusted?
On particular movies
Yes.
that I've seen? Um, I'm trying to think of one offhand that I wish was different. Um, Nothing really comes to mind quickly. I probably could tell you more that have left an impact that I still remember, but ones that I wish were different, I can't think of any
Okay.
offhand. Sorry.
It's okay.
One may come to me. I'll scream it out.
Did you ever grow up with Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood when it was on PBS?
I did. I have to say I wasn't a watcher of Mr. Rogers. I was a big cartoon guy, Looney Tunes and different. You're trying to show my age, Michael?
No.
Um, Different TV sitcoms, things like that. I should have been more educational television, but I wasn't. I was more the original Brady Bunch and the original Batman, and these are TV shows that I watched. I guess I would consider myself the latchkey kid. My parents worked. I would come home after school, and you know, my babysitter was the TV. So those were the until my parents got home, of course. And so I would watch the original. They were original at the time. Brady Bunch, Batman, um, Lost in Space, all those original TV shows that they've turned into movies, actually. um, so I did see Mr. Rogers and Sesame Street and all that, but don't kill me, people. I found them boring, so I needed a little more action. Bewitched, yeah, Dark Shadows. I don't know if you heard of these.
Yeah.
You've certainly heard of the movies, but I don't know if you've heard of the TV show.
No.
So that's probably why I don't know. I didn't purposely get into television, but I watched a lot of TV, so I had the opportunity to work in television when I became, in the industry, got in the industry.
One of my aunts has old radios from over the years, back from the 70s and 80s and 90s, and they even have their father's coin machine, the one that has the large buttons that you have to press down, and things like that from estate sales that they've gone to.
Wow.
Do you have any of those items from the past that you've held on to?
Let's see. I used to have for a very long time. I don't have anymore. I had a Beatles lunchbox, but I don't have that anymore. No, I have to say I don't. I'm not really a collector of those old things. Um, I still, I mean, I have products. I have things from the shows I've worked on, like T-shirts from TV shows I've worked on, or hats, or coffee mugs, things like that. But like, I don't have an original Batman and Robin doll or anything like that. So no, I really don't.
Okay.
No, that wasn't my thing to collect. Most of the time, all my casting has been done in Los Angeles, so you're just there on the studio lots. I've worked at Fox, Warner Brothers, Disney. I've worked at all the lots actually. Fox, Warner Brothers, Disney, Paramount, Sony, Universal. Gosh, I've worked at all of them. But I've never really gone on location to a casting like, I didn't go to London to do casting or anything like that. Most of my casting has been done in Hollywood, in Los Angeles. So,
is there any projects that you've seen that you'd like to be involved in some way, shape, or form? Maybe a book you read as a kid that you've heard talks about being made into a film or something, or a television series that if you ever had the chance or a call, you would be interested in helping out in some way?
um, There is there's a book that I read, and it's a book called This Present Darkness, and I think they're trying to make a movie out of it. I'd like to be a part of that. It's kind of a cool book, and so something like that would be kind of fun. Um, I'm not sure, anything specific that comes to mind of. Um I think maybe if they did a movie on uh, a a person living, like if they ever do a movie on, let's say, like Jack Nicholson, the life story of Jack Nicholson, something crazy. That'd be fun to be a part of because he's kind of interesting, or a movie on a famous figure like I don't know. Well, they've done movies on Lincoln. I don't know that I'd want to be a part of that. Um, Historic movies are okay. I like more modern rather than historic type things. I don't know. You know, if it comes my way, I look at it like this. If it comes my way, I read the script and I connect with the script. Just because, I mean, I've turned down things before because it didn't. You're attaching your name to it. So I've turned down um, casting opportunities because I just didn't like the script, or I didn't like the subject matter, and I didn't want to attach my name to it. So I have to read the script and connect to it, and say, yeah, I'd love to be a part of it. So
Do graduates still reach out to you from time to time? And is that something you enjoy receiving, perhaps emails from them, or if they ever reach out regarding any help from an audition or things like that?
yeah, sure. Several people that I've taught, past graduates, or even I do one-on-one coaching too at times. Yeah, they reach out, and they might be doing this, or they may give me I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think? What do you think could happen? Sure, yeah. I love that because I'll give them as much help as I can. Um, but yeah, it's exciting to know. I mean, I've had some students say, when I'm famous, I'll say, thank you, Mr. Lairson, while I'm getting the Oscar and the Emmy. I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's what you all say. Proof is in the pudding. First, you got to get that Oscar and get that Emmy, and then we'll see. So it would be nice, but yeah, it's fun to hear from past students and see how they're doing, and see where they want to land or what path they want to take. I'll help them as much as I can, you know.
I know Colin Fisher has interacted with you a lot of times, and he also sees you as a great professor as well.
Yeah, Colin. Yeah, he's a great guy. He's very driven, and so that's one of the qualities that you have to have in this industry. You got to be driven. You've got to be focused and passionate about what you want, um, and know that no matter if the failures come, and if they come, you can't let that discourage you. You've got to take the failures or the missed opportunities and make them lessons, that you can grow and move on from. So yeah, yeah. Colin, who else can I tell you that you might know?
Michelle?
No, I haven't heard from Michelle.
Okay.
Yeah. There are probably some you don't know that graduated a few years ago. Stacy Arlene, if you know her, who she was. She might be before your time. That came from this school. So yeah, yeah. I'd love to help if I can. If I can't, then I can't. But I'll give them as much advice as I can based on what I know. Sure. I truthfully, well, of course, I want to tell you the truth. Um, I moved here from Los Angeles, my wife and I developed a film and television program for another company. They were actually a ministry who was starting a film and television division, and they wanted to start a training program for filmmakers, students.
I think I've seen a few videos.
Yeah. And so I developed that program for them. And so my wife was looking and she said, "Oh my gosh, look at this opportunity at Grand Canyon University. They're looking for um, teachers in their film department and the job description." And so she says, "You should just send them your stuff and see what happens, just for fun." I wasn't looking for a job. I it was just something that she brought to my attention. So I sent in, and Lisa Turvo, head of the department, contacted me, and we kind of talked on the phone and told her all my background, and we discussed some things, and she hired me. So, and I'm an adjunct. I'm not a full-time um, professor. I do part-time. Things are going to get better in the world, I believe. Continue to work at it, and whatever you do, do with excellence. Do it with excellence. Don't try to take a shortcut. Don't try to, you know, um, take little shortcuts that you think will get you there. Just do your job with excellence. Keep pursuing. Keep learning even after the degree. Just because you have a college degree in television and film doesn't mean you're going to get a job. Always keep learning, always keep growing, keep taking classes, or keep getting involved, or if you see an independent film, you may not get paid for it, but it looks exciting and you're able to do that. You don't know who you're going to meet, because everyone that you work with in the industry always wants to do more. They're not just going to do one project and quit. They always want to do more. And when you're on a job or you have an opportunity to work on a project, do it with excellence, um, do it with integrity, make connections. Always stay on the good side of everyone. Don't burn your bridges. And with things that are going on now, I don't know. The industry is going through a lot of difficult times because there hasn't been production. It's coming back slowly and in a different way. So keep up with what's happening. Read the different industry magazines so you know what's happening, like Variety and Hollywood Reporter, industry magazines like that, because they're going to keep you aware of what's going on. Try to create opportunities for yourself. If you say you watch a movie, watch the credits and get names and reach out to them. You never know, they may respond. And just always don't lose your desire or lose your passions, because it can get discouraging, because a lot of times there's more there's more of rejection than there is jobs. But don't get discouraged, and yeah, it's about all I can tell you. There's no magic sauce. There's no magic method into um, you know having constant work in the industry. There's just hard work. That's all I can tell you, Michael.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this was my Professor Lairson, and we shall see you soon.